Hey, how y'all doing? It's your boy Greg. Just about to do a real quick video. Not a quick video, but just a video about some of the stuff that's going on in sports. A couple things I want to talk about college football. For the first time in a very long time, my Hurricanes are finally relevant. We finally have a team that can compete for a national championship. And in my personal opinion, I think we're going to win the national championship. Play Florida at the Swamp. If you don't know what the Swamp is, that's the Florida Gators home football field. And the spread was about 2.5, 2 points, depending on what service you do. And a lot of people picked the Gators. I'll put it this way: a lot more people than should have picked the Gators, and it was ugly for them, man. We whooped them pretty bad. Um, if you don't know, Miami has a new quarterback named Cam Ward, and he went off for about almost 400 yards, 3 touchdowns, threw an interception. Running game was solid. Offensive line played really well. Miami showed off some nice receivers, tight ends. Defense played well. Our best defensive player, Ruben Bain, got hurt, and the pass rush was still looking very, very good, especially in the second half when we actually hurt the Florida quarterback, Graham Mertz. He couldn't finish the game because our pass rush was just getting to him, and it was just an unbelievable feeling to see how Miami was actually playing like they were supposed to play. They were hyped up. Some of the stuff that they were doing in the off season, I personally had high expectations for them, and they lived up to them. So I'm very, very, very happy, very excited. I just think that mm, this could be a real special year. I mean, I kind of got sobered up a little bit because I saw some of the other teams that were playing this weekend, and there's definitely some competition out there. I thought USC looked good. Ohio State's got some talent. Georgia dominated Clemson, so there's absolutely some competition. It's definitely not a gimme. Miami's definitely gonna have to earn it, but at least they are looking like they can definitely win the ACC, especially with Florida State playing so bad. Florida State lost to Georgia Tech, and they lost to Boston College yesterday, basically in the same form and fashion. They can't stop the run. They don't really have any super standout receivers, and their quarterback, his nickname is DJU. I call him Ukulele because I can't really pronounce his last name. No disrespect, but that's just the nickname I gave him. And he was at Clemson. He didn't really work out there. Then he went to Oregon State. Played okay, nothing special, And then this off season, he went to Florida State. Florida State fans were trying to act like, you know, that they took him over Cam Ward, and Cam Ward wasn't that good, wasn't worth the money that Miami was trying to spend on him, or wasn't worth the wait because he was trying to go pro, and you know, Florida State wanted to get a quarterback in, and they're saying all these things, and now they realize why Miami basically took the extra time and spent whatever they had to spend to get Cam Ward in here because, man, he is special, man. He obviously looked good at Washington State. If anybody really cares to watch him over there, it's just that he didn't really have an O-line. His receivers were okay, and didn't have a running game. And that's why I thought he'd be a perfect fit here because you saw the talent with Cam Ward, just didn't really have the support. And obviously Miami has all the support, just didn't have a quarterback. So it was just a perfect fit. And like I said, it's just perfect now because really Miami has everything, man. If you look at that team that they put together, that Mario Cristobal put together. The receivers are there. Our starting tight end was hurt last year, so people thought we didn't have a tight end, but he's back now. Plus, we got this new freshman Elijah Lofton, who looks, man, I tell you, this kid looks really good, and I'm like really, really high on him. Like he looks. Let me tell you how high on him I. Let me tell you how high I am on him. He looks like Elijah Lofton. He looks like a lot. I mean, I'm sorry. He looks like Brock Bowers that can block. That's what he looks like to me. He looks like Brock Bowers that can block. And not only can he block, but he can play running back. He can play fullback. There's so many ways you can use this kid. I'm like, I'm very excited about the future of this kid, and it's almost like I kind of want Miami to run more two tight end, just so they can get him on the field more. I know they're gonna kind of switch it up and do different things, but he's probably not even gonna play to his full potential this year. But man, but next year, man, I'm really looking forward to seeing this kid because man, he's good. He ran over like six guys on that last play when we were blowing them out, and I was like, my goodness, that is something we can really work with here. So anyway, Miami doesn't play anybody for the next definitely 2 weeks. Play like Florida A&M and Ball State, so it's gonna be kind of quiet on the Miami front for a while. Then they start to play like a little bit more bigger teams like South Florida and Virginia Tech, and then we can kind of get back into the groove of things. But honestly, I'm being honest with you, man. I really don't see Miami losing to any team in the ACC. I think we're going to go undefeated and get a decently high ranking in the playoffs. And then when we hit the playoffs, then it'll be like, okay, we're facing the big boys now. So that'll be the time to really prove that we're back. But we're getting a lot of hype now because we beat Florida. But I don't know. I think the hype is going to die down when we kind of start playing our schedule and people are going to like kind of say, oh, we haven't played nobody or whatever. So it's okay. As long as I'm seeing what I need to see, it's fine. The talent is there. Everybody kind of saw it. You can't deny what they saw. He's a dynamic. We got a dynamic team all around. Even our secondary, who everybody said wasn't that good, looks like it's actually pretty damn good. So I'm just excited, man, for Miami. Florida State's not that good. They lost twice already. Florida's not going to be good. So if we have the season we're supposed to have, it's not just going to be the record, but I mean, the recruiting class is going to be crazy. We're going to get big time players. We already have a really nice class, but it's going to get even better because, these recruits want to play for good teams. And, Miami's got a good team. So I'm just excited, man. It's going to be real cool. I wanted to say a couple things about the NFL season. I just want to give my Super Bowl picks real quick. So I'm going to take the Jets in the AFC. I think that the Chiefs are obviously like the favorites, but I think the Jets got a lot of talent, man, and they got a quarterback, and there's a lot of bad stuff going on with the Jets, but I just think that this team is so overall talented. I'm just gonna go with the overall talented team. Um, Aaron Rodgers is back. That offensive line is top notch. Defense has been top notch for a while. They've been waiting for an offense like this, and I think they're finally going to get rewarded. Um, I think Hassan Reddick is holding out right now, but when he starts seeing what the Jets are kind of capable of doing, I think he gets back into the fold. Doesn't make sense for him personally or financially or business wise to just sit out the whole season. I know he wants more money, but it just doesn't make any sense to sit out. I mean, do what you got to do, and if you need to leave the Jets and get more money somewhere else, then do that. But anyway, with or without him, I think the Jets are just a top-notch team, both sides of the football. So I'm going with the Jets in the AFC. And the NFC, I'm hearing, I really like the Niners, and the Niners might go back. Because I mean, they honestly probably had the most all around talent, but I really thought the team that really made the biggest leap last year was the Rams, and I thought they had a phenomenal draft, even though they lost Aaron Donald, which is a big loss, obviously. I think they drafted amazingly well in the D line, and I think they got the best safety in the draft, personally, and Cam Kinchens. So um, Cooper Cup is healthy, and obviously Puka Nakua can play, and uh, they got a good running game. I just like the Rams this year. I'm gonna go with them, and yeah, Jets Rams. That's what I'm thinking. The Niners. They had a bunch of holdouts like Trent Williams and well, the receiver that I can't remember the dude's name, but the receiver, and I just this is like kind of a desperate time for the Niners, so I'm just gonna kind of fall back on them and just go with the Rams, saying that they're the future. Oh, Brandon Ayuk. I'm sorry, I can't really forgot his name. I don't know my head, so it's like 2 o'clock in the morning out here. Anyway, so yeah, I'm gonna go Rams, and I'm gonna go Jets. I'm gonna say something about the Giants though, since I am a big Giants fan. So the Giants, and I almost and I do think they're gonna make the playoffs, but I was kind of considering them for a Super Bowl run because I just think they have kind of a really talented team. And the biggest issue with the Giants has finally been fixed. This O line is finally, um, this O line is finally, looking like a decent O line. So I expect the Giants to have a big year because that was their biggest problem. That was their biggest problem for a long time is that O line. And I think that Daniel Jones is a big time quarterback, and he's going to prove it this year. So I'm going on record saying the Giants are going to make the playoffs. I'm going to just kind of cut it short there. I'll say that they won't make it too far in the playoffs, but they definitely will make the playoffs. And then we'll see what happens next year when they fill out all the holes. But nah, Daniel Jones is going to prove a lot of people wrong this year. And honestly, I really wouldn't be far if they made a deep run in the playoffs. But I'm going to try to be unbiased and say that they'll just make the playoffs. But man, I'm tired of people disrespecting Daniel Jones. Everybody's going to really eat crow this year. And they're going to see that he is a starting quarterback, a Pro Bowl, top 10 type quarterback, maybe even better than that. I'm tired, like, how are you supposed to be good with as bad as the O line as we've had the last 4 years? And even with the bad O line and the limited weapons, Daniel Jones still made the playoffs 2 years ago and won a playoff game. So now that he has actually got support, just like I was talking about Cam Ward didn't have support at Washington State, and people probably thought he was a third or fourth round pick. Oh, he goes to Miami now, who's got everything, and oh, now he's a first round pick. We see what he can do now that he actually has the decent supporting cast around him or whatever. Now he's a first round pick. He's always was a first round pick, but you didn't see it because he didn't have the weapons around him. If a guy has the proper weapons around him and is not balling out doing all the stuff that he's supposed to do, then you can judge him or whatever. But if he does not have the talent around him that can lead him to success, what do you expect him to do? Especially at the offensive line position where he's got no blocking. And honestly, didn't really have great receivers either. Like, I mean, look at the receivers that were here. Darius Slayton is probably on a good team a number three at best, maybe a number four. And that was pretty much our best receiver the last 3 years. Now they have uh, Malik Neighbors, Wandale Robinson, Jalen Hyatt, and Darius Slayton. So Darius Slayton will now be moved to probably the number 3 receiver where he's supposed to be, or a number 4 receiver where he's supposed to be. So you'll see now what Daniel Jones can do. And watch how all these analysts switch up, say, "Oh, he's good," and blah 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 blah. We were wrong, or whatever. They're gonna still whatever these people do. They can never get it right. They'll hype up whoever they have to hype up, but they're gonna really regret, really dissing this dude. I'm serious, man. So that's just my prediction there. I just want to get that out the way before the season starts. They play the Vikings this week. They're gonna beat the Vikings. Okay. So now that I got that out the way, I just want to also say something about the WNBA. Okay. Um, so I just think that this Sheryl Swoopes stuff is ridiculous. Okay. Um, she got her. The WNBA basically had to pull her off a game because she's an announcer because she can't be objective and like actually talk about Caitlin Clark the way she's supposed to be talked about. She can't like just analyze the game and just be objective. And when I say objective, everything is on the table. So if you want to talk about the mistakes she makes, that's fine. That's part of basketball. So, no one, I know I'm not, I don't think everybody's saying that Caitlin Clark's like a perfect player or anything like that. She does make some mistakes and she does have some flaws in her game, but the things that she does well, she does really, really well. And she's an explosive scorer. She's the best passer in basketball right now. But does she turn the ball over a lot? Absolutely. Is she the best defender? No. But she competes on defense, and she has been making a lot of people on that Fever team better. And that needs to be acknowledged. And it's not acknowledged by people like Sheryl Swoopes or anybody else who kind of has this agenda against Caitlin Clark, which is kind of crazy, man. It's just like, I don't know, man. I just think that it's really unnecessary. And now I see these people online blaming blaming the fans and saying how, oh, they don't have a problem with Caitlin Clark, they have a problem with the fans. Why do you have a problem with the fans exactly? The fans that you wanted to bring into the sport, the fans that are making this sport a lot more viable. Like, they're trying to make it seem like there was nothing wrong with the product. No, there was something wrong with the product. The league is inferior to what people kind of expect from basketball. If you're used to watching the NBA, you're dumbing down, or you're kind of making concessions to watch the WNBA, because when I watch college basketball, which is not even on the level of pro basketball, I'm seeing college athletes dunk the ball on fast breaks. I'm seeing explosive finishes at the rim in college, and people switching hands in college for making layups. You know, I'm seeing a lot more ability in that than I am in women's pro basketball. But I'm a sports fan, so it's cool. I don't really try to act like I can't watch women's pro basketball. I made a video earlier in the year about why I stopped watching women's pro basketball, and it had nothing really to do with the fact that it's an inferior product, even though it is. I stopped watching pro basketball because of the homosexuality that they were promoting, and the fact that it was getting to the point where there was players in the WNBA who, it was getting so bad that they were basically almost forced out of the league, and I'm not going to support that. So with the whole Caitlin Clark phenomenon, after a while, I kind of started getting back into it and seeing if things have changed a little bit. And honestly, not much has really changed that much, but you know, uh, but they're not really promoting it as much. They're kind of making it a little bit more feminine, which is which is better, I guess. But it's just there's still some like clear, you know, stuff that they still need to kind of fix. But I mean, I just don't understand how you try to make like a league family friendly, and yet you're still trying to promote LGBTQ, which is anti-family. Like, there's a conflict and contrast there that they're gonna have to kind of realize. You know, I got no problem with women sports, but I mean, I'm not gonna again like if they're gonna get to the point where they're just like want to make it like homosexual friendly, and that's the type of people they want to keep in the league and support and be all public with it. I'm just not gonna go for it. You know, I saw Brittany Griner, you know, with her, lesbian relationship person, and she's rubbing the person's belly like she's pregnant by her, and that's just weird to me. I'm sorry, like I'm not into that. That's what she does. We all have choices that we have to make. If that's what choice she wants to make, that's fine. But I don't want to see it. I don't. So, but with Caitlin Clark, it's kind of gotten back to basketball. But unfortunately, with people like Swoops and a lot of other people, they want to deny the fact that she's the one bringing in people into the league, and they're trying to force us to like certain players that people just don't want to like. You know, like, oh, Asia Wilson's clearly the best player in the league, and I addressed this on my video too. Like, oh, there was times when I thought Tim Duncan was the best player in the league. I thought Tim Duncan was basically the best player in the from 2000 to 2010, or at least I shouldn't even say that. I should say from 99, basically post Jordan to 2007. Even though people try to say it was Kobe, it wasn't. Tim Duncan was the best player during that time. But he was also very unpopular. People thought he was boring. And that's why people try to ignore the fact that he was even in the league. You know, he was in the league 19 years, won 5 championships, and never won less than 50 games in any year of his career. Somehow he gets ignored. But that's fine. Like, people are going to like who they like. I had to deal with it. I liked Tim Duncan. Other people didn't. Caitlin Clark is popular. And not only is she popular, but honestly, this Fever team, and this is something that I didn't even realize, this Fever team has been really bad for a long time. Like, I saw a post saying, "Oh, Kelsey Mitchell is actually the real MVP of the Fever." I'm like, okay. So I did some research. Kelsey Mitchell was drafted by the Fever, number 2 pick, 2018. She's been on the Fever. This is her 7th year. She was on the Fever six years before. The Fever never made the playoffs. Never. They didn't even sniff. Not even close to sniffing the playoffs. They drafted Aaliyah Boston, number 1 last year. The year before that, they drafted Nalissa Smith, number 2. In fact, and they had like 3 top 10 picks that year. I think they drafted Lexi Hull, who's on the team, number 6 in 2002. And then in 2020, they had like another top 3 pick, and they they still couldn't make the playoffs. This is the first year that they actually had a winning record this late in the season. At least, like I said, since Kelsey Mitchell's been drafted anyway. I don't know what they did before that. I think they were doing okay when they had Tamika Catchings. But before that, when Kelsey Mitchell was playing, when she got drafted, they haven't been good. All she knows is losing seasons. All of a sudden now she's winning. with Caitlin Clark, she's the reason why they're winning and not Caitlin Clark. No, it don't work that way, man. Caitlin Clark is the catalyst of why they're winning and doing the things that they're doing. The way she can move the ball, pass the ball, she's making it so that everybody's playing to their max ability. Does she have some flaws in the game? Yes. She's turning the ball over, crazy, and that needs to get better as she gets older. But it'll improve when she realizes how to really like deal with the physicality of some of these guards or whatever. But even with the issue she's having with turning the ball over, she's killing it, man. She's killing it with assists. She's scoring at a way higher rate. She's starting to score like she's back in college now. She's scoring like over 20 a night, pretty much. So she's doing her thing. They can win it all. I think. I think the Connecticut Sun just lost. So if I'm not mistaken, I think the Lynx are the 2 seed now. So if the Fever stay in the 6 seed, they will be matched up with the Sun, and they just beat the Sun the other day. That's the Lynx. I think is winning the championship. So I don't want the Fever to play the Lynx first round. But if they can avoid them, but if they could avoid the Lynx, I think they're gonna at least win one playoff series, and maybe they could even beat the Lynx because they play each other soon. I think on Friday they play the Lynx, and I kind of want to see how they do because the way they're playing, the way Clark and Mitchell are playing. I mean, if they're gonna drop 100 every night, they're pretty much gonna beat pretty much whoever they want to beat because that's pretty much what they're doing. They're just dropping triple digits pretty consistently, or at least in the 90s. That's kind of crazy. Like you got to be able to score to beat them. They're just a very high power offensive machine right now. And Caitlin Clark is pretty much the reason why. She gets the ball out quick. She pushes the ball. She pick and roll. She's finding open people. And then, like I said, Mitchell's doing her thing too. It's not all off Clark, but with Clark being such a dangerous weapon, they got to give her the one-on-one. And this is what I always said about with Shaq and Kobe. Like, it's not that Kobe couldn't score or was just like, but when you have such a weapon like Shaq was in the early 90s, I mean, in the early 2000s, Kobe had the one-on-ones and you couldn't give him proper defensive attention. When you give a number one, a number two type attention, he's going to thrive, obviously. And that's what happened with Kobe. Kobe was the number two. He probably should have been treated like a number one, but you couldn't because Shaq was so dominant. And not only was he dominant that he was getting number one attention, but he was getting double teamed. So it was like sometimes Kobe would just have easy lanes to do his thing on. Like that's what people don't understand when they talk about these type of situations. But anyway, I still think that Kelsey Mitchell's playing great. But when they try to say that she deserves more credit than Clark, that's absolutely ridiculous. But they're playing great and they absolutely have a chance. I'm rooting for them to kind of do it because I'm honestly tired of people hating on Clark. It's just ridiculous. I mean, like I said, I just don't understand. Like Sheryl Swoopes is a lunatic, man. She really is. She's a bigoted moron. Like for real. Like she literally lost a job. She lost a bag. I don't know if they still have to pay her, but she literally got taken off TV because she can't just give simple objective analysis or just even acknowledge what Clark has done on the basketball court and off the basketball court with all the fans that want to watch her play. This is good for the league. And she's being super bitter about it. It's weird. And and the fans didn't do nothing to her. It's just her being weird. It's just like, why would you do that? And all these people are gonna try to make it seem like Dejanay Carrington and this Phoenix Mercury announcer, they try to make it seem like the fans are doing something to them. What are the fans doing to you? Fans are being fans. They go to the game, and they're being whatever they do. They're enjoying the game and saying whatever they say. You're acting, making it seem like before the Caitlin Clark supporters came, no one said anything offensive at these games. Man, fans come in, they do a lot of different stuff, whatever. But because they don't like, or because they're getting on your case, because you're a hater of Caitlin Clark, their favorite player, you got a problem with it. That's crazy to me. Like, you know, so I just had to say something about that. I just think it's absolutely ridiculous how, you know, these people just can't admit when they're wrong and just say, yo, Caitlin Clark should have been on the Olympic team. Caitlin Clark is a top five player. Caitlin Clark has turned around the Fever team that sucked the last 6 years. It is not Kelsey Mitchell, as I explained earlier. Kelsey Mitchell had 6 years to turn this team around and never did. But when Caitlin Clark gets here, they turn around in the first year. Okay? And even with this Caitlin Clark phenomenon of all these tickets that are being sold and this newfound interest in in the WNBA, guess what? The WNBA has still lost money this year. They still are operating in the red. So we're making it seem like, oh, the WNBA has completely turned around. No, they have not. It's still operating in the red. They're still not making enough to cover their bills. So I don't understand why people are trying to act like they are. They have not. All right. So I mean, they're getting there, and they're going to be adding a couple real big stars in the next 2 years, Paige Beckers and Juju. So we will see. We'll see how that goes, and you know, there's going to be more players obviously coming after them. So it should be interesting to watch. But I mean, I don't think anybody's really going to capture the imagination like Caitlin Clark because of her long distance shooting and her amazing passing. You're just never going to really see a combination like that probably ever. I don't know. Like Juju can score, but she can't pass like Caitlin Clark, and Paige Beckers can score and pass, but she doesn't have the long range shooting that Caitlin Clark has. And honestly, I don't even know if she can really pass as well as Clark can pass. But we'll see. I mean, she's a good player, and it should be fun to see how she does. But it's just weird, like how they just go out of their way to just hate on her. And I mean, I don't know if like I don't even know if it's really bothering her because man, she's getting endorsements. She's doing her thing. Seems like all the stuff about the teammates not really having her back is overblown because it seems like she's getting along with her teammates now. So it seems like it's all good. But uh, like I said, I think the Lynx are gonna win it. But I'm really looking forward to see. But if you know what, if the Fever beat the Lynx, I'm gonna say that I think the Fever are gonna take it. Um, we'll see though, because I mean they just they have everything they need, man. The scoring is just I don't know how many people can keep up with the scoring that they can do, man. So we'll see how that goes. Thanks for listening. I think that's pretty much everything. You know, college football just got started, but I think I know who is gonna be carrying it home. But it's a long way to go, and we'll see how that happens. Thank you guys for listening to me. Appreciate y'all. All right.